Hey there, welcome. Today we're going to go over 11 quick tips for the W210 E55. My hope is that these are helpful if you have an E55 or even are thinking about getting one. Let's start at the engine bay of this awesome vehicle with the engine badging. The Mercedes emblem is commonly missing on these as heat cycles and old age make them brittle and crack apart. These badges are not available individually for sale from Mercedes, so I suggest doing what I did and buy a W221 S-Class trunk badge and installing it by drilling 3 small 1/8" holes for the pins to push through, and then I use a soldering iron on low temperature to melt them like this so I'm not relying on adhesives that may give out over time. This is not the perfect diameter to match the old one, but I think it's close enough and still gives that OEM look. Please subscribe for more German car content. I appreciate it, thanks. Number 2 is changing the transmission fluid and filter, even if it's only a partial flush. Mercedes claimed this 5G Tronic 722.6 transmission had lifetime fluid, which turned out not to be the best design. You will need one of these transmission dipstick tools as they are not included from the factory installed on the vehicle. I picked this one up on Amazon for about 15 bucks and able to use it on all my cars. Getting the level right is crucial to avoid shifting into neutral problems or limp mode surprises. I have found that once these cars get into high miles, the filter becomes plugged and fluid loses some of its good properties, so changing this has resulted in much smoother shifts and less problems. Number 3 is either removing or replacing the 2 upper and 1 lower charcoal cabin air filters. I removed mine for much increased airflow in the HVAC system due to living in Florida, and every older car I have ever checked has some grungy, nasty, and disgusting things like hair, food, dust, and even mold in the filters. And I don't really ever want to be breathing air that went through something like that. This can help eliminate terrible odors that the car has, or at the very least eliminate that first bad whiff you get when you turn on the AC or the heat on. Next up, if your ride has these IR receivers here in the door handles, then you can hold the key in the unlock position to roll down your windows on a hot day so all the hot air escapes before you get into the seat. Also, if you get out of the car and realize that the window is still down, you can roll it up by holding down on the lock button. I know some dads out there will use this one as I do when my kids forget to roll it up. Next, let's cover water and keeping it out of the car and the electronics. The cup holders place these vulnerable electronic shifters at risk, and a used shifter is about 150 to 200 bucks. New ones cost about 600, so I very rarely use the cup holders. If you end up needing to replace the shifter, make sure you get the correct pre-facelift or the facelift model such as this one. Also, the window, trunk, shade, and mirror switches are at great risk as well. I had to replace my shifter when my sunroof leaked during a rain downpour, which brings me to bring up making sure the sunroof drain tubes stay clear as well. Also, if you have this antenna up here on the rear of the roof and this leaks, then the water goes down beneath the rear seat and can cause the costly PSE pneumatic lock pump premature failure. It can also cause other corrosion down there by the battery and fuses. This seal can be had for about $20, so I would replace it if it's cracked or even just hard from old age. Back to the transmission, I recommend resetting the transmission adaptations every now and again to improve shifting and responsiveness. Also make sure that you have this switch depressed to S and not W, which starts you out in second gear and generally has earlier shifts. You can reset the adaptations by turning the key to position 2, but don't start the engine. Press the gas pedal all the way down for at least 10 seconds, then turn the key off and then release the gas pedal. After that, wait 2 minutes and then you can start the car and drive. One more thing here, the transmission lockout is located here. Stick a screwdriver in there if you need to shift the car into neutral when it has a dead battery. Next up, we have number 7, replace the crankshaft position sensor if you don't know if it has been done, or keep a spare and tools in the glove box. When these fail, most likely at the worst of time, it will cause a crank but no start condition and may not even throw a code. This is located behind the airbox down on the back of the engine and can be changed in about 5 minutes. I recommend getting a real Bosch one for about $30 as the cheaper ones tend to fail. This applies to most any Mercedes with the M112 or M113 lines of engines. You will need a T8 style socket for the single E-Torx bolt that holds it down, but you can also use a 5mm or 1/4" socket if you have that. For number 8, as this car has spring purchase all the way around and shocks, make sure these mounts are not rusted out, as that could be a disaster waiting to happen. Since it has no struts, it does make the shocks easy to replace and swap out, and here's an extra tip. If you order the Bilstein Yellow B8 set of shocks like I did, the front and rear part numbers are reversed. Just make sure to match the shock lengths on install. This has been well documented as an issue over the years, but I guess it still hasn't been fixed. If your car has it equipped, most likely in the W210 models, then here in the glove box is the aux-in jack. I plug in a Bluetooth module when I need to. Sometimes I'm going to hardwire one in as I want to keep the factory command unit. I already added a subwoofer and small amp in the back, so that will complete my modifications to the sound system. This is not sponsored, but buy expensive parts at FCP Euro like these $500 brake rotors, as they have a lifetime replacement guarantee. Once they wear out, you buy the new part, send them the old one, and they refund you your money. This works on almost everything. I buy new OEM parts from places like mbpartscenter.com or the dealer, and then I buy my oil and consumables on Amazon, and sometimes things like a genuine hood ornament. Just make sure to double check the seller is actually a Mercedes-Benz dealer or directly sold from Amazon, as there are a lot of counterfeit parts. I buy used OEM parts at my local salvage yard and also some on eBay. eBay used to be a good resource, but so many people are scavenging salvage yards to put parts up on eBay as a business, as it keeps the prices going higher and higher, and salvage yards seem to contain less and less of the common wear items. For the last thing I gotta say is do not sell your E55 right now unless you absolutely have to. This is the time to buy, not sell. The values are beginning to climb and I really think they will continue. So if you're thinking about selling, I would wait for at least a few more years if you can hold out. Once you start seeing high mile versions of this car raising in price as they have started to, then I use that as an indication to know the whole market is climbing. We see it over and over on so many older German and classic cars, and we say, dang it, I wish I hadn't sold mine back there for some cheap price. This also gives us a few more years to enjoy these cars, so it's a win-win in my book. With the government printing money faster and faster, and inflation will make the dollar values go up as well anyways. I hope you enjoyed this quick tip video, and I hope that you enjoy your ride as much as I do mine. Bye for now.